Hillary Clinton or D. Eleanor Roosevelt? Put your answers in the comments below or hit them inside the poll that's popping up on your screen. They said it couldn't happen in America. Federal troops patrolling our capital streets like an occupied city. But tonight, everything changes. It's Tom McCullough here, White House correspondent, filling in while Gary heads to celebrate Ron Paul hitting 90 years of life in fighting for liberty. We'll be streaming that live on Saturday, so make sure you tune in. I'm in our official studio watching history unfold. The president just activated a massive federal force, Homeland Security, ICE, FBI, DEA, ATF, all of the alphabet soup agencies, including the Capitol Police and National Guard units. They're not waiting for sunrise. They're moving now. High-profile murders, brutal beatings, carjackings that make headlines. DC's crime spiral just triggered something unprecedented. What you're about to see will shock you, so stay with us. So if you're getting close to retirement or just thinking ahead, you've probably done a solid job of saving. But here's something most people don't consider. How much of that money is just sitting in cash? It might feel safe, but holding too much cash guarantees one thing, that you're losing purchasing power. Inflation eats away at it, and the dollar's value keeps slipping. That's why more people are looking at real assets like physical gold and silver to protect their savings. And one company that makes it easy, Noble Gold Investments. You can buy gold or silver, coins or bars, and have them shipped to your home or stored securely. It's a smart way to convert cash into something that actually holds value. Noble Gold is fair, transparent, and they don't pressure you. Just solid information and real options. So visit nextnewsgold.com and get started. So now let's get to what's really happening on the streets of our nation's capital. The Trump administration just pulled the trigger on something we haven't seen since the Civil War, a complete federal takeover of law enforcement in Washington, D.C. And this isn't rhetoric, guys. This isn't a threat. This is really happening right now as we speak. So we have a breaking news report from Fox News as federal agents begin their deployment across the district. And this footage shows exactly what Democrats don't want you to see, a president taking action while they cry about optics. Take a look.
Tracking down a violent crime in our nation's capital, ordering federal law enforcement on the streets of Washington, D.C. All of this after the president suggested his administration could take over for the police in the city. Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Sandra Smith in New York. Another story, Bill, that we are watching closely. Glad to have you back on the program, Bill.
Happy Friday to you, Sandra. Great to see you as always. I'm Bill Malugin here in Los Angeles. John Roberts has the day off, and this is America Reports. President Trump's decision coming in the wake of several high-profile incidents. A Capitol Hill intern was killed in the crossfire of a drive-by shooting, and a former DOJ staffer was beat bloody by a gang of juveniles. And people in the D.C. area say they've been living in fear for quite some time now.
There is still far too much crime, especially gun violence in our city.
It's gotten a little out of control, especially in the summer. U Street has just become a mess with teens out late causing ruckus.
I'm not going to even lie about that. No, I don't feel like crime is down in my way. Not at all. I wish it would stop, period. I know it's never going to do that.
I think it's going back to a good place, but it's not there yet.
It doesn't stop people with the cams. People are just feels like you're always being preyed on.
Chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel has more. So, Mike, what exactly is the administration planning for Washington?
Well, Sandra, collaboration between the White House, federal law enforcement, and local authorities is underway. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and other agencies were more visible on the streets late last night. Their goal is to make residents safer. U.S. Park Police says its officers were also out enforcing President Trump's executive order, making the District of Columbia safe and beautiful.
So there it is, ATF, FBI, ICE, all coordinating for what the White House calls necessary action to secure our Capitol. And this isn't random. A Capitol Hill intern was gunned down in a drive-by. A former DOJ staffer was beaten bloody by a gang of teenagers. But here's what CNN reported just before the deployment began. Pay attention to how they try to spin this as unnecessary while admitting the brutal attacks that triggered it. Fake news, guys. Check this out.
It's 6:01 now, and President Donald Trump appears to be ready to follow through on threats to take over D.C.
We're going to beautify the city. We're going to make it beautiful. That includes bringing in the National Guard, maybe very quickly, too.
All new this Thursday morning, sources telling CNN the Trump administration could increase federal law enforcement presence as soon as today. Randy Ayala is live outside the White House with more on what this would look like and the impact it might have on D.C. and its residents. Randy.
Yeah, good morning to you, Allison. And according to CNN, that could mean ICE agents, Homeland Security, National Guard, the FBI, too. And the president claims it's because of crime here in the district and points to reports of the attempted carjacking on a former DOJ staffer. But a senior White House official saying it's much more than that. It's also part of the president's executive order to make D.C. safe and beautiful that was signed back in March and aims to ensure that all applicable quality of life, nuisance, and public safety laws are strictly enforced. Now, the president referenced the former DOJ staffer's assault during a press conference.
What a shame. The rate of crime, the rate of muggings, killings, and everything else, we're not going to let it. And that includes bringing in the National Guard, maybe very quickly, too. We have a Capitol that's very unsafe. You know, we just almost lost a young man, beautiful, handsome guy that got the hell knocked out of him the night before last.
And you'll remember the president deployed thousands of National Guard members to L.A. back in June to respond to protests across the city over ICE's immigration response. Now, local federal agents have reportedly been told to be ready to be deployed. Meanwhile, when it comes to the president's claims about the increasing crime in the district, well, D.C. police data shows that violent crime is actually down 26% this year compared to last year. We did reach out to Mayor Muriel Bowser's office to get a comment on what the president is saying and his claims. This morning, we're still waiting to hear back. Back to you.
A 26% drop in violent crime. Come on, that's only because they're not even reporting the crime and they're letting the people go. You need to tell that to Edward Coristine, the 19-year-old beaten within inches of his life. Tell that to the families burying their dead. The media can massage statistics all day long, but blood on the streets, it doesn't lie. PBS tried to frame this as Trump overstepping his authority. But watch what happens when their expert accidentally admits the president has every legal right to do exactly what he's doing. Take a look.
That's right, Jeff. On Tuesday, the president posted a photo of a bloodied 19-year-old Edward Coristine after he'd apparently been attacked by a large group. 2 15-year-olds are now in custody. Yesterday, the president had this to say.
What a shame. The rate of crime, the rate of muggings, killings, and everything else, we're not going to let it. And that includes bringing in the National Guard, maybe very quickly, too. This has to be the best-run place in the country, not the worst-run place in the country. And it has so much potential, and we're going to take care of it.
It's worth noting that, contrary to the president's claims, violent crime in Washington, D.C. last year hit a 30-year low. But for more on this, I am joined by George Derek Musgrove. He's an associate professor at the University of Maryland and author of the book Chocolate City, A History of Race and Democracy in the Nation's Capital. Derek Musgrove, welcome to the NewsHour.
Thanks for having me.
How seriously should we take this notion that the president has put forward that he's going to send the National Guard in to take over the police?
I think quite seriously, for 2 reasons. One is that the president has been quite consistent in this regard. I mean, this claim is actually in the GOP platform. And the president has repeated it over and over again, his first term and now in his second. The other is that the president has a great deal of power under the Home Rule Act. He has control of the National Guard. He can send it in. He's actually able to take over the Metropolitan Police Department for a period of about 30 days.
Did you guys catch that? Under the Home Rule Act, the president can control the National Guard and take over the Metropolitan Police for 30 days. This isn't a power grab. It's using constitutional authority that's been there since 1973. Congress gave the president this power. Now he's using it. The deployment is already underway. Live Now from Fox captured this statement from White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt as federal officers hit the streets. Take a look.
Let's stay in Washington. Live picture there at the White House. It's almost 10:30 there on this Thursday night in our nation's capital. Remember, here on Live Now, we've been talking about some of these recent instances of crime there in the District of Columbia that have caught President Trump's eye, so much so that he has talked about taking over control of the district, getting rid of home rule for the district, having some type of enhanced federal presence there in the district to tamp down on some of this crime. Well, that is happening. We have a statement in from Caroline Leavitt, White House press secretary. She says this: Washington, D.C. is an amazing city, but it has been plagued by violent crime for far too long. President Trump has directed an increased presence of federal law enforcement to protect innocent citizens. Starting tonight, there will be no safe harbor for violent criminals in D.C. President Trump is committed to making our nation's capital safer for its residents, lawmakers, and visitors from all around the world. Well, let's go out now to the streets of D.C. Fox 5 D.C. reporter Josh Rosenthal. He joins me. Josh, good to see you here. This is just breaking in the last few minutes here, isn't it? What is this enhanced presence going to look like here?
Oh, well, Andrew, thank you for having me. I'll put it to you like this. We're in the Foggy Bottom neighborhood of D.C. This is right on the edge of George Washington University's campus. Typically, busy place like this, you would see D.C. police, maybe GW police right across the street over there, Metro stop. You'd probably see Metro Transit police. Now, though, it appears as though we're going to be seeing an even larger law enforcement presence beginning at midnight.
So the only people upset about this are the Democrats on TV. And when the residents of Washington, D.C. hear that there is no safe harbor for violent criminals, that's the message. Starting at midnight, federal officers in marked units will patrol tourist areas and crime hotspots. Not for a day, not for a weekend, for a minimum of 7 days and probably longer, knowing Trump. And here's what the media won't tell you. Local NBC inadvertently revealed the massive scope of this operation while trying to downplay it. Watch this clip closely. Really watch it. Take a look.
President Trump, it's not a secret how he feels about violence in the city, and it's resulted in this. We are outside of Union Station this morning because the White House says you can now expect to see more police presence in touristy areas of D.C. In fact, there were several things announced by the White House yesterday. Check it out. For the next 7 days, and potentially longer than that, you can expect to see federal officers in marked units patrolling what the Trump administration is calling high-traffic tourist areas and other hotspots. We are not sure exactly what those hotspots are. The increase in law enforcement presence is supposed to start each night at midnight. We are talking quite a few agencies here, guys, just to name a few of them. Metro Transit Police, Amtrak Police, U.S. Capitol Police, the DEA, and the FBI. Look here, the ATF Washington office, that's the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. They posted this picture just before 2 a.m. this morning, showing them apparently pulling over a car along Georgia Avenue. Tony Millette, this is obviously not the first time that we have heard the president talk about Washington, D.C. as a city. By now you know he has threatened to take over Washington, D.C. And as we wait to see what happens there, one thing is for sure, you will definitely see an increased police presence for at least the next 7 days, guys.
So normally when you hear the all-of-government approach, you guys don't normally think that it's Metro Transit Police, the Amtrak Police, U.S. Capitol Police, DEA, FBI, all of them working together. But under the Trump admin, that's what you get. You get everybody working to protect people. And that ATF photo at 2 a.m., they're already making arrests. This isn't theater. This is a coordinated federal response to a city that local Democrats let spiral out of control. But not everybody is opposing this. Former Ward 5 Advisory Neighborhood Commissioner Kathy Henderson, a black woman from Northeast D.C., just destroyed the narrative that this is about politics. And listen to her truth bomb. Guys, take a look.
This isn't a partisan issue. This is a public safety issue.
Former Advisory Neighborhood Commissioner Kathy Henderson welcomes extra law enforcement in her neighborhood, which includes Benning Road Northeast. It has struggled with a resurgence in drug and violence problems in recent years. She says she supports the request that U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro made to the D.C. Council today. Pirro asks them to reconsider 3 laws dealing with young offenders: the Second Chance Amendment, the Incarceration Reduction Amendment, which is coupled with the Second Look Act, and the Youth Rehabilitation Act, in order to toughen penalties on people under 25 who commit violent crimes.
We have an individual that committed a murder when he was 16. Because of the legislation, he was given a sentencing reduction. So he was allowed early release. This person whom we wrote a community impact statement for, and we submitted it recently to the court, he committed another homicide.
And guys, she said it. This isn't partisan. This is public safety. A 16-year-old murderer got early release and killed again. That's the reality of DC's soft on crime policies. And the same soft on crime policies everywhere in the country where Democrats hold power. This is why federal intervention is necessary. And Stephen Miller did not mince words on why this is happening. His comparison will shock you, but the data, it backs it up. Check this out.
The president has been very clear that he's going to take the action necessary to secure the city of Washington for the people who live here, for all the American people and all who visit here. It's our capital city. It is more violent than Baghdad. It is more violent than parts of Ethiopia, parts of many of the most dangerous places in the world. It's really shocking if you actually look at the graph that has been shown comparing parts of some of the most dangerous failed states in the world compared to D.C. D.C. is more violent, and so he's going to do what's necessary to make sure our nation's capital is safe for all Americans.
I want all of you to wrap your heads around this. D.C. is more violent than Baghdad. Let that sink in. Our nation's capital, where laws are made, where tourists bring their children to see democracy in action, more dangerous than a war zone. So if you guys got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this isn't about politics anymore. It's about survival. When 19-year-old Edward Coristine gets beaten to a bloody pulp by a mob, when drive-by shootings take out Capitol Hill interns, when carjackings happen at the steps of power, we've crossed a line. The same Democrats screaming about this federal intervention are the same ones who let D.C. rot from the inside out. They prioritize criminal rights over victim rights. They chose ideology over safety. Now Trump's choosing action over excuses. For decades, politicians talked about making D.C. safe while bodies piled up. Trump's not talking, guys. He's deploying federal agents, National Guards, the full weight of constitutional authority. And here's my question for you. Should the president have waited for more innocent blood before taking control of D.C.? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments. And while you guys are fired up like I am, check out our merch shop link below. Show the world where you stand with law and order. All right.